Hey, what's up, Bigger Hunter Nation? Welcome to another episode of the Migration Report. It's been an interesting couple of weeks, especially this last week, just because the way I usually migrate is my early season. So I hunt from central to eastern Nebraska. Now, I normally hunt a lot of my early season in marshes around the basin, some private, some public, a little bit of everything. But usually I like to mix it up. Now, I'm usually there until November 14th, I'd just say roundly, just because that's when we usually get our weather starts kind of getting cold and things start freezing up. Now, this year has been interesting, and I've kind of talked about it in the past, but I think that central Nebraska, at least in the part I hunt, has become is a skip state this year. Why I say that is because we never really got a big barrel burner day, whereas last year was pretty good down there. So I think we became a skip state down there. I know a lot of guys in Kansas have done well, but it just seemed like the birds, they would be there for a day and then they would just disappear. So I think it was just a lack of water that we had. Didn't really help us out. I'm not saying that I couldn't still go down there and hunt and do well. The thing that I found the most interesting this year is that during this time frame, there's usually where we start getting our freeze up on the marshes. So like things are marshes, or prairie marshes that aren't very deep start freezing up, but a lot of the farm ponds stay open. Now, we are entering into farm pond usually that 14th area or a little past. This year it's earlier. A lot of these ducks are flying in a different flyway than normal, it seems like. And so there's ducks on like every farm pond. And so like I talked about in my last video, we got loaded up, we hunted a farm pond in southeastern Nebraska, and we ended up shooting 7 ducks. Now, the reason why I tend to push for marshes over farm ponds is because farm ponds can tend to be inconsistent. If they're pond jumping and there's quite a few ducks around, you could do pretty well, but a lot of times it could end up being a dug. You might see a few flocks, but if they don't give you a run, then you're just kind of out of money. So migration report is there's a lot of ducks on farm ponds. So if you get a farm pond, or go scout and find a farm pond, it's probably the way to go this weekend. Not saying you can't do good in marshes. I'm not saying that people won't do good in marshes. But I can see in the next week or two, farm ponds are going to be good and the river is going to be good. Now, for those of people in Nebraska, the Loup River, the Platte River, they're awesome. I grew up hunting in the western part of Nebraska on the Platte River, but it's hard to find a spot. Now, if you're like me and you don't have a Platte River spot, it's hard to find one. You kind of have to know people, and not saying you can't. I'm not saying that you won't. I'm just saying it's hard. Now, if you got a spot like that, I'd start paying attention, because it seems like the guys that are on the river are doing pretty well right now. So I would start looking at the river spots, looking at farm ponds, because we're supposed to get some cool weather I think on Saturday and Sunday. Now, we tend to have a spot here that the weather starts flipping, and I'm not saying Nebraska can't change, because Nebraska's always changing, but we tend to have that switch where it's starting to hit winter time, and that we get a change to where it's winter moves in. And so I think that's kind of going to be happening. Overall, excited about this weekend. It sounds like we've got some field with the geese in it that I've kind of scouted out. We've got maybe a farm pond to hunt. So I just got a lot of exciting hunts coming up, and I'm hoping that this season I was talking to my wife about this, but I've had a lot of decent hunts. I haven't had a lot of bad hunts, but I've had a lot of decent hunts, but I haven't had that like one just crazy out of this world hunt. And that usually happens during the early season for me a lot, actually. So it's kind of surprising. Unfortunately, that's just the way that nature's went this year, and that's okay. I'm just hoping the rest of the year is looking good, and I'm really excited to get my first honker this year. There's nothing better than having a big old 13-pound bird in your face and just blasting it. So looking forward to it. But got a decent amount of geese around, decent amount of ducks around. Really just got to do your scouting and find a density of birds, just mostly like normal, honestly. So do your scouting, keep your eye on farm ponds and rivers, and keep your eye out to the skies, and yeah, you'll find some birds and get some hunts in. So we'll see how the rest of the week goes, and looking forward to it. And hopefully we can do this weekend. Before I get going, guys, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss out on future content. Always putting out hunting videos, putting out how-to videos, migration reports. You don't want to miss them. You really don't. The last thing before I go, if you like this bold t-shirts on bigredhunters.com, a lot of great gear, hats, t-shirt, hoodies. Make sure to check it out, and get out there and get hunting, guys, and enjoy the great outdoors. All right, talk to you later.